that the time is fast approaching for me to step down. Not because I'm unwell or unfit for office, but because you are ready.
That's John Lithgow playing British Prime Minister Winston Churchill in the Netflix series The Crown. The role earned Lithgow an Emmy Award. His storied on-screen career also includes 2 Oscar-nominated performances in the movies Terms of Endearment and The World According to Garp. He also has 3 more Emmys for the hit TV comedy Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, I love that show. Lithgow first made a name for himself in theater. He returns to the stage in his latest one-man Broadway show. It's called Stories by Heart. Lithgow shares deeply personal moments and tales from the same book that his stage producer father read to him while he was growing up. Those memories still resonate years later.
When we were kids, my father told us bedtime stories. He read them to us from this book. We would pick the stories, and he would read them out loud, performing all the parts full out. When I hold it in my hands now, my father comes back.
He really does. John Lithgow joins us now. Welcome back to the table.
So nice to be back.
So you get everybody's attention right away because you walk out on the stage and you say what?
I say, what the hell is it?
Which cracks everybody up, and the lights are still on, and I thought, are the lights going down? But you leave the lights up on purpose in the very beginning.
Yes, it's a different kind of show, and it's so nice that the 2 of you have seen it, Norah. You're invited. Because it's very hard to describe to people what it is. It's a very personal reminiscence. It's a conversation with the audience, which is why we leave the house lights up for a few minutes.
It's a love letter to your father, a big tribute to your dad.
And then it turns into a performance, and it's about storytelling, it's about acting, it's about why we all gather together to listen to stories, and some of us have the urge and the need to tell them.
And that redemptive power of those stories, which your father told you, and then you tell him as he's ailing. When you're doing this all by yourself out there alone, is your father with you, or does he arrive every now and again, or are you just in the mode and you're acting?
Well, in a sense, he's always with me a little bit. I'm sure I'm very much like him. Genetics has something to do with that. He is the reason I'm an actor. I mean, he was a man of the theater. I didn't really want to become an actor. I didn't want to go into the family business.
What did you want to do?
I was interested in being a painter. Actually, I was much more interested in that. But, you know, eventually applause asserted itself. And I have just, in so many ways, I've followed the trajectory of his life, as a lot of sons do. This is the first time I've ever written something, created something for myself to perform for other people, tapping on my own experience of life. And I find that the thing that fascinates me is, what is it? Why do we all want, need, and love stories?
Well, I'm fascinated, John, because it's such a bare-bones stage. It's just you and a couple of chairs and a table and a water and a book. But you make the most amazing sounds. Would you do that how you do the clipping of the barber thing and that maniacal laugh?
Yes.
Would you just show that?
One of the stories is Ring Lardner's haircut, which every word of the story is told by a barber as he's giving an old-time shaving a haircut to his customer, his silent customer, a stranger in town. And at a certain point, I start the haircut, you know, and I do all those incredibly complicated.
All with your mouth.
Oh, yes.
And that laugh, that maniacal laugh.
Yes,
you made the audience laugh when you did the laugh.
Yes. The very interesting thing about that story is it starts out lighthearted, ends up rather dark. And the quality of his laughter doesn't really change, but your response to it curdles before your eyes.
By the end, you feel like there's a body in the basement.
That's right.
The other story you tell is a P.G. Wodehouse story, in which it's a wonderful, crazy Wodehouse living room scene. You change between so many different British accents. How do you do that? So many different people.
It's pure technique. What can I say, John? It's the essence of storytelling. It's a kind of act of the imagination. The whole evening is about imagination. Not so much mine as the imagination of the audience. My challenge is to create a world right up there on stage with, make everybody see things that aren't there, make everybody see the difference between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters on stage at the same time, including a parrot. You know,
Who has one of the best lines in the whole story,
yes,
which I won't ruin.
Can we say congratulations to you for your 6th Emmy, too, for portraying
you.
Winston Churchill in The Crown.
Thank you.
The 2nd season's done. The 3rd season is going to replace the characters, well, the actors, I should say, playing the characters. What do you think of that?
Well, it was always part of the deal. That was their scheme. Claire and Matt and Vanessa, they all knew that they would do 2 seasons and then they'd be replaced. Talk about an act of the imagination. They just presume that the audience will follow and they'll be glad that there's an age-appropriate Queen Elizabeth.
You think it's
over.
ingenious?
I think it's ingenious, and along comes Olivia Colman, who's one of the great British actors, to replace Claire. Claire was very honored.
Yeah.
Well, glad you didn't follow your painting plans. It's so good to see you on stage and on
I still do a
screen.
little.
Would you take us off with that maniacal laugh that you do?
Well, mainly he kind of whinnies. He goes,
That's what I mean. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John Lithgow.
Thank you very much.
So great to have you here. Stories by Heart is on Broadway through March 4th.